Hi everyone, welcome to School of Scarlett. I am so happy to have you here today. So today we're going to be talking about transcending the final illusion. We're going to be talking about what is the final illusion and how do we transcend it. So the final illusion, believe it or not, is love. You know that I talk a lot about unconditional love here on this channel. Unconditional love is actually something that is very neutral. What I'm going to be talking about here is the need to be loved. The traditional sense of the word of love that most people see it as. When I speak to most people or have, one-on-one sessions with most people, they see love as a relationship, sometimes even as something transactional. It's a very codependent type of love, whereas unconditional love is something totally different. It is unbiased. It doesn't have any good or bad. It is completely neutral. It has no desires. It has no outcomes or goals that it wants. It's completely neutral in its unfolding. It's more into understanding, into allowing, into accepting. Whereas our traditional sense of love is needy, is wanting something from the other, and is needing something from the other. So it's a bit different. So we're going to be talking about this here. So many of you have come to this channel because you've had curiosity about non-duality, awakenings, maybe the twin flame journey, or maybe you just simply came across my channel by chance when I was talking about any random topic. But for the most part, people that I speak to on my channel are seeking freedom, freedom in their sense of being, because they've had a glimpse or experienced or conceptually understand non-duality. So when we're on this journey of experiencing freedom, we begin to experience different kinds of freedom. Some people don't experience all freedom at once. Now, in my case, I can share some of that with you. You can always go back and watch some of my later videos. But I experienced quite a bit of freedom all at once, but not everything. Now, as experiencing freedom, you start to see what freedom really is when you experience it for yourself. And things that you thought were actually good for you, such as this so-called love, you come to find out isn't what you thought it was. It's not truly unconditional love. So it begins to feel a little different. And I've talked about in different videos, and I'll link down below my video about becoming more sensitive. As we awaken more and more, we actually become more and more sensitive. And so that we perceive situations through our senses and through our body, and in a lot of different ways. We're just in tune a lot more, you could say. And because of this, we begin to pick up on the body and how it's reacting and what it's doing. And because of this, we become alert to things that aren't as pleasurable or aren't as in line with our true essence or our true being or foundation or paradigm of being. See, what we are is truly one with the divine. We are truly one with God. We are never separate. And anytime we think that we're less than that, we think that we're unworthy, we begin to suffer. We begin to feel a bit of dis-ease, and you'll actually feel that within your body. The most common way of feeling that is feeling anxiety, and you feel that within your being, a little bit of constriction, a little bit of something. Some people will feel it physically in their shoulders, their jaws, their arms, what have you. So all of these things do appear for you. So all in all, this whole thing about coming into your being of who you truly are is understanding that you are not just this limited human being. And when you have the understanding of the truth of who you truly are, then you're more aware when you're out of line from that. It's very clear to you when you're out of line from your reality, your truth of reality. And so because of that, I began to notice that a lot of relationships, whether they be friendships, romantic relationships, family relationships, whatever, were truly very codependent, very transactional, and in some cases could even be considered very narcissistic. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but most relationships are this way. And when we really analyze them, they are this way. They're pretty, I was going to say parasitic. Maybe that's the right word. They're very parasitic on wanting something from the other. And even the best of relationships, we can find areas where partners are being quite selfish, and we can see those narcissistic traits. And even each partner can accuse the other of being this way because they're seeing a projection of themselves, because they haven't seen themselves clear enough in the clarity of who they truly are, their divine self. So they're always projecting those things that are off, right? So anyhow, basically what we're trying to do here is get back to who we truly are. That's, if there was any purpose in life, it is to realize your truest nature. And your truest nature is your divine nature. And when you realize that, it's kind of like you've jailbreak the system. You kind of now have a better perception of reality. Now you don't have all perceptions that you would think, but you have a perception of reality that you certainly didn't have before, and you have an understanding. That's the biggest difference between unconditional love and conditional or your traditional love. Unconditional love seeks to understand the other. So when I'm having a relationship or I'm having a conversation with another or anything like that, let's stick to relationships. When I'm having a relationship with another, if you're coming out of unconditional love, you're coming to understand the person. You're coming to connect with the person. So let's put those two words for the unconditional love. You're coming for connection and understanding, and that's it. Whereas the conditional love, or your traditional sense of love, the most codependent type of love, is seeking to gain something from the other, okay? And is seeking to kind of take something from the other, as you can really see. You know, they're wanting something from the other partner. When we really look into it, especially as a counselor, I can really get in, ask these questions. Partners are clearly looking for something from the other person. And when they don't get that thing from the other person, in these sorts of relationships, they will do things that are very manipulative. They will give the silent treatment. They will take away affection. They will take something away. They will start fights. They will project. They will give ultimatums. They will try to change the partner into being who they want the partner to be. They can verbally abuse the partner, physically abuse the partner. The list goes on and on. What can happen in this sort of conditional codependent relationship when one partner is not getting what they want? The wrath begins. So this is the cycle that we see, especially when I counsel couples that are having trouble. We see this pattern of really a partner that's not getting their needs met and is trying to forcefully get them met, and there's a fight, and there's just no polarity there. There's an issue there. And there's no understanding. There's no understanding from the partner that's needy about why the other partner is not able to provide right now, or not able to, or not interested in this time or whatever. There's no understanding or wanting to understand. There's just this forcible, almost narcissistic nature. Whereas in your relationships that are unconditional love, you see understanding. You see wanting to understand why a certain person is struggling to do something, why a certain person is not able to show up in a certain way. So rather than projecting and fighting one's own self, there's understanding, and then there's a completion and kind of like a reemergence, a growth. You get more growth. There was never any healing or nothing that needed to happen or nothing. There was always just understanding. And from that understanding, you get more growth, like in a plant. You get more growth. So it's a whole different paradigm. But sadly, the biggest illusion that people live in is the illusion to need to be loved. They seek to be loved by their parents, and they will kill themselves and put their own needs aside and do this, that, and the other to please these parents, just to be loved. And sadly, they generally don't get the love that they were ever seeking. And that's generally the pattern, because we cannot seek this love or validation or any of these things outside of ourselves. There is nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we can physically do, mentally do, anything to force someone else to love us, because we are love. And anything we try to do, we project it out there. So if we are feeling that we need love from someone else, then we're instantly already projecting that we don't have love. So instantly you're already in this reality of someone who does not have love. Whereas you come into a situation knowing that you are unconditional love. You already have all that love here. So there is nothing to get from the other person. You're just in a state of understanding and spending time with them. And all the love is already with you. And if they are not that fun or whatever happens, you just walk away. You have nothing. There is nothing that you're trying to gain from them other than you're trying to just genuinely have a good time. So that's the biggest difference there. And so actually the need to be loved is a quite selfish need, really. But so many people have this need, and it's natural, but it's a selfish need because truly our love comes from within, from ourselves. That's why so many people will say you really can't love another unless you love yourself. And if you don't understand that yet, and I know that there was a long time that I didn't understand that, you can do some things. You can do some inner work. You can do some counseling, some one-on-one sessions with like a person like myself, and kind of open up that heart so that you can begin to perceive love, perceive the heart and its messages to you. So all of these things develop naturally regardless, but sometimes you see we're in resistance, and resistance is in the realm of that kind of controlling codependent love. It resists things that it doesn't understand. It resists things that don't fall in line with what it wants right away. It doesn't try to understand. Remember, unconditional love tries to understand. So that's why unconditional love is more about allowing, okay? Whereas these conditional, traditional codependent love is really about resisting. It wants what it wants, and it doesn't understand when its partner is experiencing depression. It thinks that its relationship is over. It thinks that it doesn't have a good partner. It thinks that there is issues in the relationship. Where in the unconditional love relationship, when a partner has depression, even if the other partner does not, there is understanding there. It's seen, that it's showing up for a reason to be seen. And when we see it, it transcends it and actually helps that relationship to grow. And it helps you to better understand your partner, because there are things there that maybe you needed to understand that you weren't seeing about yourself. But truly, it's not just about your partner. I mean, it's about yourself, okay? So we want to leave kind of an open door to everything, whereas the other conditional relationship instantly sees a problem in the relationship and wants a divorce, wants to run away, wants to shut down, wants to resist, wants to hide, just sees the end of the world. These things are not the end of the world. Even when you experience a problem in your relationship, it's an opportunity to go deeper so that you can grow and flourish more as a couple. So that is the difference here between conditional and unconditional love. And the biggest illusion that we can do, that we need to transcend, is the need to be loved. Because you see, we don't need love from anybody else. We are love. And in each situation that we walk into, all we can really offer to it is understanding, allowance, and acceptance of what is. And in doing so, believe it or not, you actually are a creator being in that scenario. And you begin to align closer and closer to those things that align with your heart. It's very hard to explain. It's very hard to understand or understand. But when you get on this path, when you start listening to your heart, all things, all pieces begin to align in your reality. So I encourage you today to align with your heart.